What is up, besties? Today I thought I would sit down and do my makeup and talk about something that has been frustrating me recently. That is the Penthouse, as in like a kdrama. Well, first of all, there's gonna be lots of spoilers, just in case. Gonna be a lot of spoilers and a lot of anger, and I didn't dislike it. Like, I enjoyed it, and there's gonna be a third season, and I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not gonna be happy with the show. It is. There's so many layers to it that I can't even explain it.
Long story short, it's about murder, it's about who murdered the orphan, it's about covering up the murder of the orphan, it's about the orphan was actually not an orphan, and actually, this woman's kid, she didn't even know that the kid who was her kid, that she was hiding from her other kids who are also not her kids.
We're trying to figure out who killed the orphan. I'm literally living it in my head, and I'm like, I'm just gonna talk about the things that made me angry. You have to have a good mental state and not like be prone to migraines to watch the show. Like, the first season, it was like I was on board. I was mainly rooting for Suryan and Uni. I was so like, when she was murdered, it was like, it was a party going on, you know, they were celebrating their kids getting into this top school, which they all got into because Suryan like owns the school, or her dad owns the school. So like, you know, she got everyone's kids in who lived in the building, I guess. The only one who like got in without connections was the orphan, but then it all got messed up because they found out that it was like the rich kid's tutor, and they were all like disgusted by her because they found out she actually didn't go to like American college, and she actually wasn't like the age she said. Well, she lied. She did lie, and that's messed up. But they were all like, she's disgusting, like get her out of here. The main things that annoyed me is that whenever I thought things were going fine and like everything was gonna be fine, I thought we all had it together. I thought like, you know, even though the orphan is dead, we're gonna figure out who killed her. Uni and Suryan were fighting in high school because, you know, Suryan is rich and Uni is a broke bitch, you know. No one likes poor people. I've learned watching K-dramas, no one likes poor people. Doesn't matter if you're talented, if you're like physically capable of doing things, no one likes you, and that's just a you thing. Like, you just have to deal with that because you don't have money and you're poor.
When Suryan like won the competition at the high school that her own dad owns, and when she was confronted for not being the best singer because she isn't, and she only won because her dad owns the school. Because she's rich and her dad owns the school, and the TV says you just get kicked out of the school.
Seems a little suspicious if you ask me. I mean, well, Suryan basically tried to murder her and then said that like she did it to herself. Uni, she like sliced her throat. So when she came to the school, it was like, oh, like, you the child of the woman who like tried to kill my mom, we all hate you. They also all bullied the orphan too because she was an orphan and got into their school from pure talent and not from being rich, and she was like #1 in the school. One thing led to another. Orphan was dead. I forgot to mention, Yumi's kid Rona never got into the school, and she could only get in if a place opened up, a position in the school opened up. So she was like first on the list to get in, and when the orphan died, you know, like obviously a ghost can't go to school. So Rona got into the school, and honestly I feel like she should have been there because she was better than quite a few of those rich kids, you know. No one was happy about this. Also, they were kind of happy the orphan was dead. I mean, they covered up her death and said it was a suicide. And they were like, well, that's one less thing we have to worry about. A disgusting, poor orphan. Ugh, could you imagine an orphan coming to a prestigious school? The main thing that frustrated me was the amount of plot twists. Just when you thought, okay, I get what's going on, I see what we're doing, complete 360, flipped it right over, and it was just a whole different thing that happened. Like you would think it was one thing and then it was the next, and you were like, wait, I thought the worst thing about not just season 1 but like about the whole show is just that rich people can get away with whatever they want. And that annoyed me because those kids bullied that orphan so much. They nearly killed her. They set a bus on fire while she was in there, like, and they just like got away with it. Like, it was exposed and leaked. They were maybe just as bad as their parents. The only time like they actually got what they deserved was when the orphan's adoptive brother like locked them in a room and like said, if you don't write apology letters admitting what you did, like, we will kill your parents. Basically that's what they said. And then the parents had to admit that they covered up her death. But that's like later on in the show. Something else that like, good lord, I don't really know how to pronounce her name. Unbyo, I'm so sorry. She was so clearly mentally ill and so distraught because for one, she thought she killed the orphan. She started losing her mind afterwards. She was like genuinely mentally ill, and her mother, Sojin is her mother, no one did anything for this poor girl. Like, she suffered. She needed a good, like, she needed a psychologist. Like, she needed to be taken away and like looked after for at least a good 3 years. I was genuinely concerned for her. Like, y'all have money to like afford therapy. Like, you guys can get therapy whenever you want. You're gonna ignore your child is insane. The craziest thing that she said was that to her dad, like, who by the way, he's the finest dope I have seen. Dr. Dolph, which is what I'll call him for the rest of this video. He was the only one who like tried to get her out, but the mom was like, no. She was having an affair and she was just like, well, I'm allowed to have an affair because you don't love me. And then they like ended up getting a divorce, and this kid, Miss Psycho, took it as, well, you're getting a divorce, that means you don't love me. I think maybe the craziest thing that she ever said on the show was when the dad was trying to calm her down, because like, I guess the maid, if you will, whatever the rich people call them, whatever the rich people call, like, you know, people who work for them, the cleaner probably just moved her book so she could clean the bookshelf, and she was going crazy. She was like, where are my books? And she was throwing a tantrum, and the dad was like, dude, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm gonna end my life. She was like, if you don't bring me my books right now, I'm gonna unalive myself, if you will. He took her to a psychologist, and the psychologist, when she was like in there talking to the psychologist, Han's like, I'm fine, I don't feel stressed at all. And then the psychologist is like, yeah, you're a crazy one. In the middle of the restaurant, they had like a fight. That would have been when I would have sent her away to like get help. She ended up taking a bunch of pills and nearly like dying. Then the mom's reaction was, oh my gosh, my daughter, I love you. Like, don't do that. Here's a cake. Another like insane thing was just like how jealous she was of anyone who spoke to Seokyeon. She could not tolerate it because basically Rona, like the pole girl, and like Seokyeon, the like richest, hottest, were dating, which was a crazy thing. And I was there for it. I was rooting for them. I was like, yes, get it, like get it, Miss Rona. She was so jealous that she decided to kidnap Rona. Not kidnap her. They basically tricked Rona and tied her up and was like, you need to do everything I say or I'm gonna tell the whole world my dad and your mom are having an affair. Which wasn't even like who caused the divorce between her parents. Like she was such a bad mom. I'm not even gonna lie, she was a terrible mother. All she cared about was getting that nasty old dick. And I mean, comparing Junan Tae and her husband was way harder. Like if we're just going off of looks, personality too, I would have stuck with the husband. I would have just explained to him like, dude, like, can we just like do a little bit more? Like that's all she had to do really. Like I'm sorry to Mr. Junan Tae, if you're watching this, please don't kill me. But you are not that hot. I was, of all the people, I really just thought Junan Tae was the orphan's murderer, but no, it was Uni. The one person I was rooting for, like the one person I was like, yes, like she has her head screwed on a little bit. She was actually the murderer, which threw me so off. I had to take like at least a week break from watching after that because I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? She killed her best friend's daughter. I don't know like for what good reason the writers did that. Then it got worse. She just didn't want to go to jail anymore because she was like, well, my daughter has to live a good life now. Even though I murdered someone else's daughter, I don't want to go to jail because of my daughter. She started working for Junan Tae at some point and started like getting a little close with him. Which everyone, why does everyone at some point in the show like that ugly fool? Like he is evil and ugly. Like what are y'all doing? Serena is smart, so she put two and two together. She realized that Uni killed her daughter and she was not even mad at her. I hated Uni at that point. And I continued to hate her throughout the rest of the show. But this is like your best friend. You killed her child and she's not even a bit upset with you. So what she decided to do, instead of just going and like being like, hey, you know what, to be honest, I actually killed her daughter, she decided to go ahead and ask Junan Tae to murder her. And you know what he said? Sure. She was getting impatient. She took a knife from the kitchen and was like, I'm gonna go and kill her. But then she was like, never mind, I'm not gonna kill her. Junan Tae's little minion was like, hey, Junan Tae needs to speak to you by the house. So she goes, and basically what we see next is her murdering. And this is really where I was losing my whole mind. I was crying so much. I was like, God, what is this? She got arrested when it was going to jail for murdering Soryun. And then basically before Soryun died, she wrote a letter saying that, hey, I know that this woman murdered my daughter, but can you lessen her sentence because I love her and she's my best friend. Basically, this is pretty much the end of season 1. Then season 2 came around. She didn't murder her. Junan Tae murdered her and then framed it. She just said okay because she murdered her daughter, and so it was like, I might as well take the fall for that. This caused so much drama as well because Seokyeon and Rona broke up because of this. Long story short, Junan Tae was actually the murderer. But even longer story short, she wasn't even dead. She was not even dead. Sojin and Junan Tae are getting married, and honestly, she knew that he killed his own wife. What made her think that it would be like their marriage would work out perfectly fine? Like some We have too much trust in men is what I think. It too gave me brain damage. Like, I had constant migraines. I developed chronic migraines from the show. And guess who else was getting married? Dr. Dove and Uni got married. I was like, girl, what do you mean? Yes, first of all, get it, Uni. Like, take your man back. But like, if Sojourn wasn't like evil and like was just a normal person, they would have been a power couple. Dr. Dolph and Sojourn were a power couple. They were married and they crashed engagement party, I think. Oh, it was beautiful. That scene, beautiful. When they like came in the helicopter, the flying thing, and they were like, oh hey, y'all getting married over here? Oh, sorry, let me introduce you to my wife, Uni. And it's just Uni with her new hair, and she's like, yes bitches. When Soren came back, I was like, what in the hell, like, is that really her? And then they were like, nope, it's actually her twin sister. I was like shook again because it really was Soren. The show had this magical thing of someone dies but comes back to life. Maybe it's just like a ritual thing, like ritual have the ability to just come back to life. Then the craziest thing, none of this would have happened if this freaking crazy girl went to get mental health. Oh, they were having that show again, which is so ironic. Like the daughter would die over the trophy and the mom would almost die over the trophy. Oh yeah, Jonah died. What possesses people to be so like, I need to win this trophy because I need to be the best? I can understand why Rona wanted to win the trophy because she was there in place of the orphan. Also, why did she come back to like South Korea? Like, her mom sent her away to America and her life would have been fine. Like, she came back just to get bullied again. Like, this really broke me because it was like her and Sukyun were about to get back, and then Miss Psycho decided to kill her. The craziest part is that Rona won. As she should have. Rona was murdered. And this broke me because it broke Sukyun. It broke him in half. Like, he really loved her and like you could just tell he loved her. This hurt my feelings because how are you gonna go around and like pretend to be like a good stepdad and like, oh yeah, I love Rona, Dr. Dolph, because he became a stepdad. Get like he had no obligations to give her a gift. He got the gift for his daughter, which is fine, like his real daughter. When she said, would you do anything for me because I'm your daughter, he decided to sabotage Rona's pianist for her show, like her performance. And like Rona still killed it because Rona can do anything, and it was like a key higher or a few keys higher, but she still slayed the performance. Dr. Dolph, he erased all of his psycho daughter's memories of what she did, murdering Rona, and remove her memories of just all the trauma in her life, really. He erased all her memories with like a magic memory eraser medicine. I don't know, he's a doctor, who knows. And this really annoyed me because there were so many other options, there were so many other things you could have done. While I'm kind of happy in some ways that they didn't let her like just admit that she murdered Rona, because come to find out she was not the real murderer. You could have guessed it, Judante. Another thing that like I didn't know whether to be, like I didn't know how to react to this, was after Sojourn. And by the way, I don't know if you could tell, I'm not telling the story in the order that it happened like perfectly. I'm just like talking as I think about what frustrated me. When Sojourn and Judante actually got married, and at the same time the dad was being framed for the murder of Rona, he just decided to take the fall for his daughter. This is when things got crazy. Like, he ended up in jail. Oh, I love a Dolph behind bars. He only decided to drop a bomb on not only him but everyone who watched that show. Dr. Dolph's reaction hurt, but basically Dr. Dolph is actually Rona's real dad. What? mean, makes sense, but like I thought that he broke up in high school. Like he was really her dad and he treated her like shit. He covered up that his daughter killed her, well, killed Rona. After Rona died, he didn't even go to Rona's funeral. Like, what a douche. This is not the kind of dope behavior that I like to see. I still don't get why Sojin actually married Durante, thinking like it would have been a good idea. Why did she think that would have been a good idea? Why did she think he would have treated her like a princess when he killed his own wife? Like, I don't know what she was expecting, and I really couldn't like sympathize too much with her. Like, obviously no one should be abused, but like, God, she should have known it wasn't gonna like work out. Known at least that he wouldn't have been the greatest husband. He wasn't even the greatest boyfriend, if we're being really honest. But really all he wanted was your money, girl. Like, you should have known. This like show kind of like made me wonder it would even be a good idea to like date a rich guy, because what if he just straight up murders me? Because he like locked her up in a room and like was like, well, you can cook and clean for me. Women belong in the kitchen. That is where you belong, Sojin. That's what he said. Since he was like trying to build his new building, they were like, we're not gonna let that happen. Ended up stealing all of Judante's money and then blaming Judante for the murder of the twin. Well, not really. He really did murder her. The one who died that night, it wasn't even Sorian. It was her twin. They framed him again. Like, that's how he got arrested. And that was like the biggest win and like the smartest thing they could have done. Rona was alive the whole time. She was alive, but she almost died. But guess who saved her? Sorian. And I was so happy about this because when like Rona called up so good and she was like, what's up, I'm alive, boo. He like ran to her and like he was like, oh my god, like my boo, you're alive. And they got back together and it was such a cute moment. The show would have been ruined if that moment didn't happen. Then the season would have sucked. Later on, they finally got Judante arrested. No one decided to tell Yumi that Rona was alive. Why wouldn't that have been the first thing? Like, as soon as he got arrested, y'all should have immediately been like, yeah, your daughter's alive. Why didn't anyone tell her? Also, the setup for the real Surian to be alive, like, oh, she's a genius, pretending to be locked in that basement, pretending he was beating her and like abusing her. And on top of that, they also got Sojin. Finally, we're gonna get these evil people in jail. The last few things I have to say about the Penthouse sentences. Out of there was like 2 years. We'll give you 2 years, like 1.5 years, like 3 months. Like, no, like these people covered up a murder. They covered up a murder of an innocent girl. Like, they all should have been sentenced to at least, I would say, 5 years. Like, Judante's was also so short for like all the shit he did. The last scene was so frustrating. Finally, everyone is happy. Like, you think there's gonna be a happy ending, but these writers can't do that. You know, Logan and Surian, like, they had their little thing. They just straight up murdered Logan. They blew his ass up. I don't know if I was a big fan of Logan. Like, sure, like, get revenge for your sister, but like, he was kind of like a little annoying. Not gonna lie. Just when Surian was like finally happy, Judante from behind the cell was like, not on my watch. I hope season 3 doesn't give me as much as a headache, and I don't even know if this is like good. I'm like good at explaining things. I really don't think I am. My final like review of the Penthouse season 1, I would give it a 5 out of 5. Honestly, even though there were all those plot twists and like all these crazy things happening, I still was like okay with them happening, and I was with it because it was something new. Like, but now that I've watched something else, like for example Vincenzo, oh my gosh, maybe I'll do a review on that because that must be the best K-drama I've ever watched. Season 2, I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. It gave me too much stress. Like, I had to take so many breaks in between because I couldn't deal with it. Like, they need to have like some chillness in there. We're killing people, we're abusing people, we're playing people, we're pretending that we're someone else. It's too much. It's becoming like Riverdale, like no offense. No offense like the Penthouse, like people who write kdramas. If it keeps going on and we keep dragging it out, like they just need to go in jail and stay there. If you need someone to go and like beat you Dante up and like just teach him you can't do this to people, I'll be the one. I'll gladly be the one. This look is decent. So I hope you enjoyed. If you watched the Penthouse, let me know what you thought. Did it give you a headache? Did you like have to take a bunch of painkillers? Because I did. Thanks for watching, I guess. I think I might just make like an Instagram just for this YouTube. And hopefully I get better at making videos. Maybe I'll do more like show reviews in the future. I will do one when season 3 comes out. Hopefully it's not a shitstorm.